Right, so I'm Clive Bailey from the Farming Forum. Tom Allen Stevens from BOFIN has swung by our direct dealer stand here at Croptec. You launched the Pulse Pep and the Slug Circle here today at Croptec, and he's going to tell me a bit more about it. So, Tom?
Yep, no, that's right. Well, the whole point behind these, Clive, as you know, is that farmers have got the best knowledge. I mean, knowledge is really, really valuable. It's only when we exchange that knowledge that we realise how valuable it is.
Yeah.
It comes to an event like this at Croptec. You know, it's a great event for meeting other farmers, exchanging ideas. You know, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? And so on. As you know, and you do that really, really well on the farming.
Well, it's
forum.
like a live version of the Farming Forum, isn't it? It's
well,
like,
exactly.
Yeah, farmers
That's the
know what's best or what works on their farm, their situation. Yeah.
So that's what we're looking to do. So that we launched the Pulse Pep, as you said, and the Slug Circle, which are forums within the Farming Forum. And the idea of that is, you know, all those little nuggets of knowledge that you get all over the Farming Forum at the moment. Let's bring them all together in this area. You know, talking specifically about pulses or about slugs in these two
Try and
forums.
formalise some of that information, what patterns are in it, bring research, but not just farmers, researchers and
absolutely
people that know.
And that's the really key thing. So the two projects we've got going is Slimers. So that's strategies leading to improved management and enhanced resilience against slugs. So these are alternative strategies for slugs.
I love the acronym with that.
Yeah, no, we've got them all. That one is looking specifically at bringing new strategies into slug control, because, you know, we spend £43 million a year on slug control. It's farming's biggest pest. And we've got just one control source, which is slug pellets. So let's bring in some alternative strategies. How are we going to do that? With the knowledge that farmers have in their head.
Yeah, because it's a product we don't use particularly smartly, do we? Really,
no,
now we use it quite reactively.
Yeah.
It's kind of closing the door after the horse has bolted kind of way quite often, and often it's too low. No, you've got a problem, too late. So being a bit more proactive.
Well, exactly.
Knowing we're going to have a problem in the first place. Yeah.
And at the moment, we just blanket apply it. So we got two strands within the research, and that's the other element that we're doing. As you point out, we're bringing the researchers into the forum as well.
Yeah.
So we've got Keith Walters, who's an expert in slug behaviour, and we've got Kerry MacDonald-Howard, who's an expert in treating slugs with nematodes, which is another strand of the project. Really, really
Actually,
exciting.
My wife's done some of that in the veg garden. It's just
that's exactly
when I first came across it. Then you look at the price at the garden centre. I'm not using it on a field, but I could see that.
Well, that's the point. So one of the technologies that we're bringing on within the project is the Slugbot project, where we've got robots going out into the field and then seeing a slug and then spraying it with nematodes. Is the idea.
It's like a Terminator movie for slugs.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah, no, it's really gruesome stuff. But I mean, that means we can move away from pellets entirely. And apparently, it costs a penny a time when they do that. Is the idea. But we've also got the technology within what we're developing is this patch treatment or patch location of where the slugs are going to be. We've got some really good evidence to show that slugs gather in patches. And Keith has done this work. He knows that it happens. What we're doing in the project is we're putting it through farm trials just to verify that really is the case. Make sure that it's absolutely robust and resilient, and also know where the boundaries are, where the boundaries of these patches are, and then turn that into a service. So the idea of then, the great thing, is that you'll be able to direct your robots to exactly the patches and then focus it even more.
Because thinking obviously small robots, it takes time to get across the field, zapping them one by one. So you've got to target the areas.
So if you know where they go, and we do know that you can locate it very, very accurately just by knowing what the qualities are of your soil. So we're refining that understanding and we'll be rolling it out.
I think I found as well. I think they probably should contribute this to the forum a bit, but I found that they're quite habitual. So where we drill wheat, say into kind of rape volunteers, I find they tend to leave the wheat alone until they're finished with the rape. They don't suddenly go, wheat, we'll move on to the rape. So that helps with timing when we do apply. We found that actually you don't have to worry about it too early while there's another food source. As soon as the rape's starting to disappear, the glyphosate's taking it down or frosts are taking it down, then often frost normally, the last couple of days have solved some problems on slugs. But this year's been a particularly bad one for us actually. It's a problem I thought we'd got over 16 years or so now into no-till, and it's got easier and better every year. And suddenly, just when you think like this year, there's been a big problem again this year. It's like, where did they all come from again?
And that's the thing. But I mean, you've just illustrated exactly what we're trying to do with the Slug Circle there, Clive. Is get that. I thought I got on top of the slugs, and then they came back, and this is what we're doing, and so on. It's those sorts of experiences that we want to get onto the Slug Circle and get that knowledge exchange and so on going. And then we can build up that knowledge base.
And am I right in thinking you're trying to reward that, because this is a bugbear of mine. Obviously, we've tried to innovate and done things on the farm in the past, and I don't know, the older I get, the more I realise that there's no prizes for being first. It's sometimes best to sit back and wait, because you're just in the development of everybody else. There's no real reward for the early adopter.
Exactly.
That's the thing. I know you're championing this idea that actually the innovators, the early adopters of new technologies, that there should be a reward for them directly as farmers.
No, you're absolutely right, Clive. And so that's what we're doing. It's one of the things that we are promoting within BOFIN, that the farmers who do that work, who go through that pain, go through that expense and so on, should be rewarded for what they do. So the farmers who are involved in our trials, our slug sleuths and our pulse pioneers, they get paid for the trial work they're doing and for the monitoring work.
Yeah.
And we've got one of the elements of that.
Where's that funding coming from?
That's coming from DEFRA funded. Delivered by Innovate
so
UK.
they're recognising actually that value of those innovative farmers.
Yeah, and DEFRA really want farmers to be involved in this research. And there's money there to pay for it. There's going to be more money as well. There new schemes that are being rolling out. So if you want to be involved in that, then just sign up to come to the Slug Circle, come to the Pulse Pep, and find out how to get involved. So we hadn't talked about the Pulse Pep yet.
Yes, well, that's something that's been is the launch today or yesterday?
Absolutely. So the Pulse Pep is all about peas and beans, and the project behind that, it's a £5.9 million DEFRA funded project. We've got 17 partners, and it's led by PGRO. It's about getting more peas and beans into the arable rotation.
Yes.
We want to lift that from 5% to 20%, and then cut soya in livestock rations by 50%. And if we do that, we'll get CO2 emissions to drop by, get this, 1.5 million tonnes.
Wow, that's a big number. Big
it
impact
is a big
here.
number. It's more than 54% than what
because all that, nearly all the soya is imported. Basically, it's not really UK soya of any quantity. Is there?
Exactly. So let's replace that with homegrown pulses. But we can only do that if we're growing enough homegrown pulses. That's the point.
And so we were talking earlier. There's some fantastic opportunities, I think, within SFI. I think legumes in general are going to become more commonplace within rotations because of some of the options that we're seeing in new SFI standards. So
and that's that's the discussion we want to get going on the Pulse Pep. So we know from the members that we've talked to, we've already got 340 members of Pulse Pep. We want them to come onto the forum, and we talk to them at events like this and at cereals and so on. And we've got growers within our membership who are already doing really interesting things with companion cropping and intercropping and things like that. So we want to bring that knowledge onto the forum, share it, and share experiences and so on. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's where they work well. I mean, we grew peas with spring oilseed rape for instance, and the benefits of that were great. I think not necessarily as a monoculture, but there's a lot of potential with companion cropping, and I know a lot of knowledge, particularly in the direct drilling arena. I think it's where some of that's been more kind of a bigger thing. But I think it's some real interesting, exciting times ahead with that.
Well, I hope so. I mean, it's early days with the forums. There's not a lot of chatter on there at the moment, obviously, because we've only just launched. But so the Slimers project, that's a 3-year project. The NCS project, that's a 4-year project. We hope that by the time we get to the end of that, we've got a really, really nice knowledge base there, and we can then that will be owned by the members, and we'll see where it goes from there. It'll be a really, really valuable knowledge base, I hope.
It will, yes. That's brilliant. It's good to see, because it's that wealth of information amongst farmers that we've got huge amounts of on the forum over the years, but the challenge has always been separating and formalising and actually getting the good information from there's a percentage always of absolute rubbish, like in any social media, but amongst that there's some absolute gems, and it's sifting them out.
Exactly.
So if this can do that, brilliant. I think it's a brilliant idea. So.
No, great. And listen, thanks to you as well, for hosting it on the Farming Forum. It's great to be working with you.
That's what the forum's supposed to do. The whole idea, the reason it was started, it was farmers to be able to help each other. Farmers helping farmers. It's run by farmers. So it's got to be a good thing. So Tom, thanks a load for your time. Tell us about it. And
it's been my pleasure. No, thank you very much.
See you soon. Cheers. Thanks, Tom.
Cheers.